Hi darlings, today we're going to revisit and I'm gonna give you my final assessment on many perfume clones slash dupes slash inspirations. We are gonna mainly focus on those initials that I showed you many times. I mean, not many times, and that's why I want to actually revisit and give you my final thoughts. But I also have some Nishane dupes and some Tom Ford, so let's get into it. And I especially wanted to do it now because the website that carries these fragrances has a massive sale. So they do have a sale on other fragrances. You can find fragrances even up to 60% off on their website at the moment, and on every single fragrance you get 10% off. So I highly recommend checking them out now. And we can just get into it. This is my honest opinion. I use these fragrances very often and I've had them for a long time now. So now it's like the final assessment that we're gonna do. So let's start with these Initio inspirations. And I must admit straight away that not only I love how this inspired collection looks, the price is almost ridiculous. They're so inexpensive, it's almost funny. And I must say, out of every single dupe inspiration fragrance that I have for Initio, these are truly the best because they really last. And honestly, the scents are pretty much identical with slight differences. So let's start with Rehab. This is my original Rehab. It does help very much that I have the original versions and I truly love them. And the dupe we're gonna focus on today is Raheeb from Aroma West. So here we have the OG and here we have the inspired version. As you can see, the bottles are very similar, with the difference that this one is done a little bit more, of course, cheaper on a budget. The cap is light and plastic, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but I'm actually a fan of the bottle itself. The bottle is very nice to the touch, to the feel. It's nice and heavy. I like the sprayer. It's perfect. It's just the cap that could be a little bit heavier. That I would love. So when it comes to Rehab in general, this is not the fragrance that I use every day. It's definitely not my signature scent. This is a fragrance that I do have to be in a mood for, because it's very aromatic. At the same time, it's very creamy and woody. However, it's still very aromatic. So in Rehab, as well as Raheeb from Aroma West, you have the same note structure. You've got bergamot, lavender, you have cedarwood, patchouli, sandalwood, and Hidione and musk. And of course, in Initio, you have all naturals, hence the price point. And in here, you definitely do have synthetic alternatives. However, if you're on a budget, I would definitely think about it. Okay, so let me give you my final thoughts, just spraying the fragrances side by side so I can remember properly. But I must say, they are perfect to be used interchangeably. Even if you own Initio, I think if you love this fragrance and you want something, you know, for every day, maybe not to use up your OG so quickly, then I would definitely get something like this. So, in my opinion, Initio is just more aromatic. Just more aromatic. I get more of that lavender. I get more of the woods. Whereas Raheeb, it's very similar. Just a little bit more subdued. It's not as like oomph, harsh. It's kind of like you would get Initio's Rehab in the second or third hour of wear. You know what I mean? This is how it starts and this is how it goes throughout the day. The longevity of the original is nuclear. I would say even 12 hours plus. Whereas with Raheeb, you get a very, very solid 7 to 8 hours of wear. They are very, very similar. I would say 80% similarity. Yeah, and as they dry down, they get even more and more identical. I worn them interchangeably on my skin, on my clothes. On clothes, they last very, very well. On skin, Rehab has better performance, and also the bubble of the fragrance, the projection and sillage it gives is definitely bigger. However, with the price point, you're basically getting almost the same thing. So if you don't want to use up your Rehab, or if you are unsure if you're gonna love it, because this is a very specific fragrance, okay? Let's be honest, this is a very specific fragrance and it's not for everyone. It's beautiful, it's a masterpiece, but it is not too easy to wear. Certainly not for me. I really have to be in a mood. So I'm more than happy to have a cheaper alternative, because, you know, if I was on a fence, I would definitely get that first, see how it wears on me, and then maybe consider getting the OG. But yeah, this one is a very, very solid inspiration. I really like the packaging, so very good. I still really like it. I use it. It makes me quite happy. Yeah, this one also has like a more piney and a little bit more like piney incensey feel to it, rather than lavender patchouli woods. This one has like a piney incensey hint. Sweetness wise, they're quite similar. Powdery wise, I would say Rehab is more powdery. So if you maybe are annoyed by the powderiness of the original Rehab, try this one because it's less powdery, and that aspect I love way more in this Aroma West version. Okay, then we have Aroma for Happiness, and this is of course another Initio, and this is a clone of Ood for Happiness, which I actually have a decant of. I do not have the original because I'm not that in love with its DNA, to be honest. So let's spray Ood for Happiness. And it's not the only alternative to this fragrance that I have. However, I find this one to be the best and the strongest. The only thing that I have to say is that in the very beginning, my bottle leaked. And I know, like, I saw many comments of yours that your actual Initio bottle leaked so many times. It's ridiculous. It did leak a little bit, but as you can see, nothing is happening at the moment. I wiped it once, and since then, everything is fine. So I cannot complain anymore. The problem is solved and the crisis has been terminated. So yeah, with Aroma for Happiness, I must say this is even closer to the original than Rehab, in my opinion. The only thing is that the sprayer kind of goes crazy. Yeah, you get that same, also very aromatic. To me, Oud for Happiness smells very much like cannabis, okay? And here you have the same vibe. It's like green, wild cannabis, woody fragrance. I really do like it. However, I love it on a man. I love it on my boyfriend. This is a fragrance that definitely hits different worn on a guy. I'm not saying it's not unisex. Of course, you can wear it if you're a girl, if you love that kind of scent. But for me, I do much prefer it on my boyfriend, specifically because for some odd reason, even though my partner has never ever had a wee wee in his life. Never. Which is crazy, but okay. He never did. And for some reason, cannabis fragrances smell incredible on him. And this one leans very much cannabis to my nose. So I am speaking a lot about cannabis in the original and in here. The original or this one do not have cannabis. It's just my personal feeling that I'm getting from the fragrances. In here you actually have citruses and ginger and licorice and oud and cedar, and in the dry down you have vanilla and herbal notes and musk. So maybe actually in those herbal notes there is something even more green hidden, if you know what I mean. But yeah, for me it's a woody citrus cannabis fragrance overall, and this one basically gives you the same feel as the OG for much better price. Of course, again, in the OG you have all naturals, in here not so much, but for the price I really wouldn't complain. This one lasts very well, at least 8 hours plus. So yeah, it's a solid one. It's really a solid one. With Aroma West I really cannot complain about the scents. The only thing that kinda, you know, has been a bummer for me is this packaging, because even if it not leaks anymore, it sprays kinda, you know, something's wrong with this particular bottle. I'm sure it's not like that with every single bottle, but with mine it is. Alright, next we have something that I truly love in the OG format and Aroma West format. So here we have Musk Therapy, and the equivalent to that from Aroma West is Aroma Therapy. And I must say, I have another inspired fragrance from Musk Therapy from another brand, but this one is so much better. This truly, for me, from what I've tested, is the best Musk Therapy dupe that is on the market. For sure, like for sure. It is straight up like the original from the get-go, and it does last very nicely as well on the skin. I really cannot complain. Really cannot complain. So let me spray the OG. And let me spray Aroma West. If you do not know Musk Therapy, like, see, like this sprayer is perfect. So I think it's just that one bottle. With Musk Therapy, I love that it's so fluffy and clean and sweet, yet very like clean laundry a little bit. I prefer it so much more over Apollonia from Xerjoff, and even that white cube from Narciso Rodriguez probably at this point, but anyways. So these are identical. These are truly identical. Musk Therapy in general is of course, a musk bomb. We also have bergamot, mandarin, white magnolia, blackcurrant, sandalwood, and we have white musk and pink musk. So this has been done extremely similarly. I would say they're like well 90% similar to each other. This one lasts maybe a little bit better, but it's a matter of 2 hours that it lasts better, and it projects slightly better as well. But this one still has a very nice longevity and very nice projection. So yeah, these two, I honestly feel like this is the best Musk Therapy clone that we have on the market. So that is Aroma Therapy. And from this line, I only have one more, and it's actually a clone of my favorite fragrance, which is Atomic Rose. And we have Aroma Rose. So as you can see, the bottles, yeah, very nicely done, this one, I must say. They have the same feeling to it. They're very like silky soft, almost like rubber. And this one, same as with aromatherapy, this one is spot on. I'm wearing it at the moment, these days, instead of my Atomic Rose, because with my Atomic Rose, I'm almost done. Like, I'm down here, so I have to use up my alternatives before I go and repurchase, and I do not feel like spending so much money yet on new Atomic Rose, because I have this. I'm gonna use it up first and maybe then get the original. We'll see. But this one I've been even wearing today. I changed since, but yes, this is perfect. This is perfect. And this one has the clone has a nicer sprayer than Initio. This one sprays in much better way, more like a cloud, see? Whereas Initio, I mean, they're similar, but this one squirts sometimes, but also maybe because I'm very much running out of it. These, identical. These are identical. And I love this fragrance so much that I would never bullshit myself or bullshit you when it comes to it being similar. Yes, this one is perfection. I'm not too sure if they last exactly the same or the original lasts slightly better, because I get incredible performance from both. So I would say they both last for around 9, even pushing 10 hours with definitely good projection. So Aroma Rose is definitely my favorite. Out of all of these, Aroma Rose and Aromatherapy are the most similar to the original versions, not only because of the scent, but also because their performance. So that is the Initio part of this video. Then I really need to give you my final assessment on these two. So I have two Ebene Fume Tom Ford clones. The first one is from Fragrance World, Ebene Fume, and the second one, which one was it? Was it Alpha or was it Apex? I always confuse them too. It's Alpha. All right, and this is Alpha with the wolf. Okay, so we have two Fragrance World perfumes that are clones for Ebene Fume from Tom Ford, or Fume Ebene, I'm not sure. I forget all the time as well. I get it twisted every single time. But we have two of these. This one is in a very heavy statement bottle. It's super heavy, guys. Trust me, the cap is metal. Overall, the presentation of this fragrance is definitely a gift-worthy thing. This is something that I would totally gift to a family member. It is just a very nice presentation if you like kind of extra bottles, you know, kind of reminds me of that Penhaligon vibe with all those animal heads, you know. So overall, the presentation is definitely better on Alpha, whereas in here you pretty much have a cloned appearance, and you know, I think it's more for a personal use. I wouldn't necessarily gift it to anyone. Scent wise, so when it comes to the notes, Alpha has black pepper, incense, palo santo, violet leaf, labdanum, papyrus, cade oil, rose, leather, resins, ebony tree, and gaiac wood. Whereas our Fume actually has the same notes as well. Exactly the same note structures in both of these. which is also pretty much the same note structure as Tom Ford. What I have to say about these two is that Alpha has much better performance. It's way more dense and, simply put, performs better, has better longevity and better projection and sillage. So this is a powerhouse, definitely a killer, a beast, however you want to call it. This is super, super strong. Now, when it comes to this, I feel like it also lasts well. What I like more about this, it does lean a little bit sweeter comparing to Alpha. It's also a little bit less smoky comparing to the original Tom Ford. But with the lasting power, it's very good. It's like very, very good. You get at least 9 hours of wear, but this one, Alpha one, simply projects and it's denser and it performs better overall. This one is not bad at all, lasts very good and projects as well. You're not gonna have any complaints, trust me, but Alpha is just that step further. It's, yeah, this one is a true beast, just like the beast on it. So yeah, that is my Fume Ebene Fume situation and assessment. Then I have another fragrance from the line, and this is Apex. And my darlings, Apex is pretty much a spot-on clone of Blazing Mr. Sam. Speaking of Penhaligons, we have a Penhaligons dupe. This is a top clone of Blazing Mr. Sam, which is definitely marketed the most towards men. However, I personally wanted to get George and Sam myself because I really love the DNA of them. So in here we have, same as in Mr. Sam, we have cardamom, cinnamon, saffron, we have some black pepper and a bit of cumin, and then we have tobacco, patchouli, vanilla, and cedar. So all in all, this is a spicy, like warm, spicy tobacco vanilla fragrance. It is really nice. I must say, having this, you really don't need the original because it performs so good. Same as Alpha, they just perform incredibly. They really knocked it out of the park. They have performance like definitely actually better than the originals. Yeah, so this one is definitely like a fresh, spicy cardamom, saffron, tobacco, vanilla fragrance with a little bit of patchouli. I feel like it, at first sniff, you're not gonna appreciate so much. You really have to let it sit on your skin and then the magic happens, same as with the original version. So in my opinion, honestly, there's, if you are after Mr. Sam, there's really no need if you don't mind having a dupe, if you do not mind having an inspiration, because this one is just as good, if not better. And it's not just my opinion, because I saw so many perfume content creators, men in particular, reviewing this line, and everybody is obsessed with this. So it's not just my opinion, it's an opinion of the community in general. These are just amazing. There's another one that I have. I think it's a stag here, a reindeer. And I think it is Imperial Valley dupe. So if you want an Imperial Valley dupe, check it out. It's also very nice. It's like citrus leather. But these two are so good. And I must say, with Alpha, I do love to wear it myself. However, I think just because I'm a girl and I like sweeter scents, I probably reach for this version more, but this one is just as good. is just denser and like more cognac-y, more cognac. And this one is like more incensey, fumey, yet sweeter. So I love them both, but they're not identical. They're not identical. This one feels a little bit more airy, not as dense. This one is definitely denser, and you get a lot more booziness from it. They're both great though. They're both great. It's hard to even choose. You have to choose yourself because I cannot. This one is denser and more boozy, and this one is a bit more airy, slightly more sweet, and more like smoky. Yeah. So that is that. And now we can move on to my last baby that I promised to give you my final thoughts on, and I'm gonna do it today. So here we have the best Hacivat clone that I found on the market, and it's also from Aroma West. And this is Hirjat. I think that's how you pronounce it. And by the way, I do not have the packaging anymore, but the packaging is so nice. You even get the postcard with a nice painting, kind of just like in Nishane, you know? So they really, really put in work when it comes to this fragrance. I really love the cap. It's also metal. It's lovely. Very good quality of the packaging. I really cannot complain. So with Hirjat, it's honestly, guys, pretty much like Hacivat. Not Hacivat X, mind you. It's like the original Hacivat. But I love it. I'm definitely not gonna get the original because I have this. The only thing I might get is the X version of Nishane's Hacivat. But when it comes to OG, they're pretty much so identical that I definitely do not need the Nishane version because it will take me a long time to use it up. This one I share with my boyfriend. It's for me a straight up unisex, and it is definitely in the same genre as Creed Aventus for her. What else? You know, all those pineapple-y, woody fragrances, which I personally really like. They perform very well on guys, but also they perform so nicely on girls. So this one is no exception. I would say Hirjat is a very creamy, smooth fragrance. You still get citruses and pineapple and woody notes, but everything is blended so nicely, and it's so smooth, and it's very long lasting as well. So if you like your slightly more tropical yet woody fragrances that are good all year round, then Hirjat is a great fragrance, especially for the price that you're paying for it. And pretty much all of these are 10% off at the moment. And no, guys, I'm not paid by the brand to talk about them, just putting it out there. I just truly love the fragrances, and the shop that carries them at the moment has a sale. That's why I wanted to give you guys a heads up before it's gone. So yeah, very nice. The whole Aroma West line is very good. I really wish that they had psychedelic love dupe, and I'm also praying to the universe that they're gonna have absolute aphrodisiac dupe. I'm really hoping and keeping my fingers crossed because these two are my absolute loves, just like Atomic Rose. So we really need them. Alright guys, so that is it. Don't forget to check out the sales that they're offering. I do not have any discount code, as I said. I'm just shouting out their sale that they're having, and I truly love the fragrances, and I'm giving you my final thoughts on them. So yeah, happy shopping if you are interested, and see you in my next one.